Okay, have you ever started learning Spanish and just stopped and wondered, why is a table female? Or why is a book considered male? You're not alone. It's one of the first big puzzles everyone runs into. But today, we're going to crack that code together. And believe me, by the end of this, you'll have the keys to unlock a huge piece of the language. So let's dive right in.
It really all boils down to this one question, right? Why on earth do objects that have no gender in real life get one in Spanish? I mean, a book isn't a boy, a house isn't a girl, so what gives? Well, this whole idea of grammatical gender is basically a leftover from Latin, which is Spanish's ancestor, and it's absolutely fundamental to how the language works. But don't worry, it's not as random as it seems. We're about to make it super simple.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll look at this whole gender puzzle. Then we'll crack the O and A code. This is the biggest clue you'll get. After that, we'll see how to make nouns plural, which is easy. Then we'll discover the 4 different ways to say the word the, and we'll wrap it all up with a handy toolkit to make sure you've got this down for good. All right, let's kick things off with section 1, the gender puzzle. You can think of it like this. Every single noun in Spanish has a secret identity, and we are about to figure out what it is. So, let's do a quick refresh. A noun is just a word for a person, a place, a thing, or an idea. Simple enough. But here's the absolute golden rule in Spanish. Every single one of those nouns has a gender. There are no its. It's either masculine or feminine. Everything from a dog, perro, to an idea like democracy, democracia, gets put into one of those 2 boxes.
So, the big question is, how do we know which box to put them in? Well, that brings us to our next section and our first major clue for cracking this code. It's all about the letters O and A.
You're gonna love this, because the mean pattern is actually beautifully simple. If a noun ends in the letter O, it's almost always masculine, and if it ends in an A, you guessed it, it's almost always feminine. Just remembering this one single rule will get you so far in Spanish. It's a real game changer.
And let's see this rule in action, because it works like a charm. Libro, book, ends in O, bam, it's masculine. Casa, house, ends in A, it's feminine. Same goes for perro, the dog, masculine, and chica, the girl, feminine. See? It's a really consistent pattern once you see it. But of course, it wouldn't be a real language without a few little quirks, would it? So yeah, like any good code, there are a few interesting twists to this O and A rule, but don't let it throw you off. They're not that bad, I promise. In fact, here are the 3 biggest exceptions you just have to memorize. El día, the day, ends in A, but surprise, it's masculine. La mano, the hand, ends in O, but it's actually feminine. And el mapa, the map, is another one that looks feminine but is masculine. Just lock these 3 in your brain and you'll sidestep the most common mistakes. Okay, moving on. Now that we've got a handle on the gender code, let's build on it by figuring out how to make all these nouns plural.
And the good news is, Spanish keeps things pretty logical here too. There are really just 3 simple rules. Rule 1, if the noun ends in a vowel, you just add an S. Easy. Rule 2, if it ends in a consonant, add ES. And rule 3, the only slightly tricky one, if a noun ends in Z, you change that Z to cease. That's it. That's the whole system. Let's see it with some examples. El gato, the cat, ends in a vowel, so it becomes los gatos. Simple. La mujer, the woman, ends in a consonant, so we add S to get las mujeres. And el lápiz, the pencil, follows our special Z rule and becomes los lápices. See? Pretty straightforward. All right, next section. This is where everything we've just learned, gender and plurals, starts to really click together. We're talking about definite articles, which is just a fancy name for the word the. Okay, so here's the big payoff. In English, we just say the, but in Spanish, the word for the is not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. It actually has to change. It must match the noun it's describing in 2 ways. Its gender, masculine or feminine, and its number, singular or plural. And here are the 4 horsemen of they. For a singular masculine noun, you use el. If that noun becomes plural, you use los. For a singular feminine noun, it's la, and when that's plural, you use las. That's the whole set. 4 little words that are going to make you sound so much more fluent. And this slide right here brings it all home. Look how el goes with libro. But as soon as libro becomes plural, libros, the article has to change with it to los.
It's the same deal for la casa becoming las casas. They are a team. They always have to match perfectly. All right, you've been listening patiently. Now it's time to put it into practice. A quick little challenge for you. Based on everything we've just covered, how would you say the cats in Spanish? Think about the gender of the word for cat and the number. Go on, give it a shot. And the answer is los gatos. You got it. The word for cat, gato, ends in O, so it's masculine. And we're talking about more than one, so it's plural. That means we need the masculine plural article, los. Perfect! We've made it to our final section. Now I'm going to give you a little toolkit, the master keys to make sure all of this information really sticks with you. Here are 4 super simple but incredibly powerful tips. Number 1, never just learn the word libro. Always learn it as el libro. This just burns the gender into your brain from day 1. 2, say new words out loud. It helps. 3, the second you learn a new noun, practice its plural form. And 4, good old-fashioned flashcards. They still work wonders for testing yourself. Look, if you only take one single thing away from this explainer today, please let it be this. Gender, number, and articles are a team. They're inseparable, they move together, they change together, they always have to match. That's the core of it. And that's a wrap. You now have the fundamental code for understanding Spanish nouns. You've cracked it. So, my last question for you is, now that you have the key, look around you. What's the first object you're going to correctly name in Spanish? Article and all. Thanks for joining me.